You guys ever heard the phrase, nice guys finish last? Well, in sales, nice guys don't finish at all. And in this video today, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to be a pleasant person or a respectful or even a respectable person on a sales call without being perceived as a nice guy. And here's the thing, look, you guys, if you look at the origin of the word nice, it basically meant village idiot. If somebody called you nice, they were saying you were stupid. And so you have to understand that number one, words have meanings, and those meanings are important. And number two, it requires, if you want to be successful in sales, it's going to require you to be a very specific kind of person. Now, the good thing about this is anybody can be the kind of person that's successful at sales. If you can show up to a sales call confident, if you can demonstrate certainty that the product or solution you have is going to solve their problems, and you can ask for the sale consistently enough, you can be successful in sales. It doesn't matter if you've never sold before, it doesn't matter if you're already somebody who's been selling for 10 years unsuccessfully. You can be better at sales, but you have to understand you cannot be the nice guy on the phone. You need to be able to show up in a way where people are like, man, this person really gets it. And I want to let you guys know, when I first started in sales 15 years ago, just to be completely transparent here, I was so scared of talking to strangers that anytime the opportunity came up where I had to talk to strangers, my hands would start to sweat and my knees would literally shake. So if I could go from being the kind of person that my manager literally had to walk me around the gym that I worked at and make me introduce myself to people because I was so scared of talking to people, if I could go from that to being the top closer for 3 years in a row selling a $100,000 coaching offer, trust me when I tell you guys, anybody can do this stuff. But you have to understand, when you get on a call with somebody, they can tell how confident and how comfortable you are. So if you're not confident, it's typically telling the person on the other side of the phone, this person doesn't know what they're doing. This person, maybe they're not confident because this is a scam. Maybe they're not confident because, they're not getting great results. Their thought process is they're going to emotionally pick up on the fact that you're not confident, and it's going to make them anxious. So, what do you do to be confident, by the way? This is a great question you guys should be asking yourselves. How can I be more confident? Well, number one, you should know your script backwards and forwards. So, what I did when I first started really getting great at sales was I printed out my script and I left copies of it all over my house. I left one next to my bed, I left one in the bathroom next to the sink, I left one at my kitchen table, and I left one out on my front patio because I would go out and have a cigar on my front patio at the time. And so everywhere I went, I was constantly visually being reminded that I needed to practice. Um, the second thing was when I used that script on calls, I was very smart about not overdoing it. I didn't want to sound like I was reading from a script. So I would throw in little, like, I'd be like, well, what are you, looking for? What do you guys need help? I would make it seem like I was just coming up with this stuff off the top of my head. And you can do that where it feels natural and authentic on a call, and it disarms people because they're like, well, this guy's just, trying to figure out how to help me. Like, he's not reading off of a script. He's not unsure. He's just trying to make sure he says it the right way so that he gets the best answer because he wants to get help. He wants to help us to be able to, make more money in the business or get in better shape or, have better relationships, whatever it is that you're selling. So being confident is, being prepared. Now, the second way to kind of build up that confidence so that you show up prepared and you sound like a pro when you're on the call is to avoid doing the things that people negatively associate with salespeople. So, as an example, don't use canned objection handling scripts. I can't tell you how many salespeople all say the exact same things on the phone. If you want to get the sale nobody else has been able to get, you can't say the things everybody else has said that haven't been able to close the deal. It's not going to work. So rather than having canned responses to every objection that these people, especially if you're selling in the high ticket space, they've already heard it 1,000 times. You need to be prepared to answer people authentically, and you need to start to develop your own ways of handling those objections. My favorite strategy, by the way, and you guys can go watch, I have a video I just did on this yesterday, is to just remove them all during the beginning, like 8 minutes of the sales call. Rather than waiting for this like awful, ugly thing to show up right after I ask them to buy, I just get it all out of the way in the first 8 minutes. So when it comes time for me to ask them to buy, the only question left for them to ask is, can I pay like this instead of like this? Or can I do monthly payments? Or can I pay with crypto? Or is it okay if I send a wire? I don't like using my credit card. Whatever they want to do. But then there's no objections. It's just, how do I pay, rather than, can you handle these 5 problems I have before I'm even willing to discuss whether or not I want to pay? So that confidence comes from being prepared. It comes from setting yourself up that you can stand out as an individual. And the third piece that really builds confidence is become an expert in your space. When I talk to people about high ticket coaching for business owners, taking them from 7 to 8 or 9 figures, I know every problem these people have. I know their hiring problems. I know their tax situations are usually not set up correctly. I know if they're raising capital, what they're probably doing wrong. If they're trying to sell the business, I know they're probably already talking to the wrong people about selling it. I mean, there are hundreds of different problems that businesses in the 7 to 8 figure space have that I'm already aware of and I've already seen solved multiple different ways. And it's going to be different for each business. I know some businesses, they have to be structured the way they are because they have a physical factory in Wisconsin or whatever. So I know that there are certain things that have to be a certain way based off of the kind of business. But the other thing is, I know what the right solution is for their problem, and I only ever put the right solution in front of people. And this is where having a script becomes kind of like a crutch for a lot of people, is people try to just stick to the script. Okay, we're selling this product. I'm just going to go through the script. Well, the thing is, if you're talking to the person and you're really paying attention, you might find out in the first few minutes of the call, hey, the product that this script is talking about is not even the right product. It's not going to work for them. It's not the right fit. Now, if they can afford another offer you guys have, or if you have the flexibility to kind of put an offer together for them, you should still proceed. Now, if they don't have any money, why waste your time, right? They don't have any money. There's nothing you can do for them unless you have something for free. And then in which case, you don't need a long call. You just give them the free thing and say, hey, look, let me stay in touch with you over the next couple of months. Use this. Text me if you have any questions. I want to help. I want to get you to the next level. Blah, blah, blah. Have a great day. And you end the call. But building that confidence is what you want. You don't want to be perceived as a nice guy. Nice guys need approval. They're scared to ask for the sale. I don't know if you guys know this, but 40 to 70% of sales calls end with the salesperson not even asking people to buy. Because why? They're scared of rejection. What if they say no? What if they give me an objection? Well, you'll never know if you don't ask. In the Bible, it says, ask and what? Ask and you shall receive. You don't receive unless you ask first. So nice guys are scared. They have approval issues. They want people to approve of them. Great closers don't care whether or not the person on the other end approves of them. All they care about is finding out what the truth is, finding a problem, solving the problem, and moving on to help the next person. And so rather than being the nice guy, what you guys really want to be is the competent man. You want to be the kind of guy that when people get on the phone, they're like, man, this person is sharp. They're not wasting my time. They're not like one of these scripted jackasses that just says all the same stuff everybody else says, like they're a real person, a normal person. And at the same time, they feel like you're taking them where they want to go. Everybody in the world right now is in a place that's okay, but it's not the ideal. Sales is taking people from where they are to where they want to go through whatever the product or solution is. This is why when I talk to like young business owners, a lot of times they're like, well, does this work for this? Or does this work for this? You have to understand every product is exactly the same. It takes people from point A to point B. Now, the way that it does that might be different. If you have a coaching offer, taking somebody from point A to point B is different than a car or a plumbing solution. But it's the same process, the exact same process. And so what you realize is when you see some of the best closers in the world, you realize not only are they not nice guys, sometimes they're kind of disagreeable. They'll challenge their people on the phone. Let's say, hey, well, look, are you guys actually, really all in on this? Or is it, you've had some people on the team just kind of try, and so you've gotten kind of try results out of it. They're not scared. And that's the big difference. So don't show up as a nice guy. Show up as the competent closer, the person who can take them from where they are to where they want to be.